closer. Test mic 1, 2. Tesla.
Test.
Elon Musk. Alright, cool. Hey everyone, my name is Mirdza Faiz and you're in Za TV. And today, my guest of today is none other than my homeboy, Thaqeef.
Yeah.
Thaqeef, so how have you been, man?
Wow, it's a hectic year actually. Yeah.
So what have you been up to lately?
Just got back from Penang late this morning and couple of sleep and then back to this show.
No, but it's an honor. Thank you so much for giving your time to come here.
Yeah.
So, if you guys don't know, I never mentioned this before, but I, for one, grew up in Subang. Same goes to him as well. So, Thaqeef, now that you're here, I want to ask you, how do you think Subang Jaya have been progressing? Because I remember when we were kids, it was just another town though. But now, since dia tukar daripada MPSJ ke MBSJ.
Correct.
So, there's a big progress from there. And how do you think kita orang berkembang daripada dulu sampai sekarang?
Yeah, I mean, I remember those days where it's just Subang Parade, Pyramid is just another thing, and One Utama is just another thing. But always love this city, and I've been here since kindergarten up until Form 6. So I did Form 6. So relatives semua pun even say that, oh, you tak pernah keluar. And then there's even inside joke about us Subang. We are like an island. We can't go out. In a way, like, we got everything here. We got a couple of college and schools, like, you can choose which school you want to go, and hospitals, and I mean, you're talking about facilities, and the community is quite closely knit, you know, and
in a way it does.
Yeah, you can get any random uncle that you meet at the park, and next thing you know, tomorrow you meet him again. He's your friend.
Yes, and that does happen banyak kali sebenarnya tau.
And even, okay, if you can recall this Subang Ria Park, which is it's a heart to all Subang Jaya actually. And almost all community protect that park at all costs. And most of my both of my parents' friends are from that community. Yeah, we jog every morning, ke apa semua. And they are close as like your relative. Yeah. And we know them, and they know our relative, and we know their relative. That's how think about us. Yeah.
No, but speaking of the Tamaria tu kan, I don't think if anyone nak tanya kan mana tempat tu, we always say like macam next to near to the LRT center tu, lepas tu tepi jog dekat dengan SJMC.
SJMC.
And then people automatically macam, yo, I've pernah jog sana before. I don't think there's anyone unless you live macam jauh sikit dekat USJ semua tu, maybe lah they're not familiar with it. And but for those yang duduk dekat belah SS tu, yes, for me that is a national treasure lah. Kita kena
protect at all costs. Yeah, that's another whole conversation altogether. And macam imagine if I go back to my family album, I was there. I mean, the picture kecil is tu, there's the small bridge or whatever is still there, and brought back kita punya macam nephew ke niece ke. It's like it's an ongoing tradition, you know. So memories are made there, and then it's nice lah.
Not only that lah, but I think for me macam like lately, I think because as kita orang dah grew older, I realized that there's a bit of a difference between I would say me and you were from the same generations, and then before that there was another older ones yang macam pernah nampak stalls that we never heard of, but we've been into stalls that younger kids these days tak pernah dengar. And this is way before Chanai, way before apa nama Jibril semua tu kan. There was this place called, I don't know if you've been dekat SS15, nama dia Gazebo Cafe.
Gazebo, yes. It's those were the days that Mama before the Mount Kiara elite, you know, like you have a big area to lepak. Gazebo is already there since early 2000, I guess, late 90s kan. So it's a hangout spot for everyone basically.
And that's to ask people macam who, when they say dia orang OG daripada Subang, and kata, really, have you been there before? You know, it's like but it's true macam like apa, sometimes when we look back and then let's say macam, I think you travel abroad quite some time ago, and I think kalau if you see someone from Malaysia, you click automatically. True. But let's say if you meet someone from Subang, that's a different story tau. That's like macam tiba-tiba you just found your long lost relative.
Correct. I totally agree with you, because like for my dad, he's a traveller, so macam bila dia fly pergi Amsterdam kan, met this guy, because my dad loved to wear this aviator bomber jacket and with Malaysian patch. That is something that is hard for him to get rid. And then this guy maybe he brief himself, say, sorry sir, are you from sekian-sekian ke whatever kan. Say, yeah, I'm Malaysian, because my dad muka macam a bit Arab sikit kan. So dia cakap, yeah. And how surprisingly, that guy is actually from SS14.
Lah dekatnya.
You met like thousands of miles away to know that he is just another Subang Jaya. So it's remarkable lah kan. Kita jumpa jauh-jauh and then like, wow, you're part of this. It's quite hip lah, and this even we would continue this conversation to that narrative of orang kata Subang Jaya is a hip hop birthplace for Malaysia lah.
I mean, they're not wrong per se, So I think speaking of hip hop, I think we cannot go through this entire podcast without mentioning the president, Joe Flizzo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe Flizzo if you're watching. If you are, if he does watch it, I'll be so grateful for that.
Honored, I'm actually a big fan of him since the Two Fat Days and Malik and all that. At first, just vibing to the song, and I enjoyed understanding the whole lyrics transpired to all the music. And when I did my degree, I met a bunch of friends actually from KL, but they are the same tune of loving to the same music. And then they kind of like push me to say like, oh, you need to understand more about this whole Subang Jaya thing. And I'm like, okay, even though I'm just a normal Subang Jaya kid, but I'm like, okay, but I was one of the first few that patronized Joe's Barbershop. That was the first outlet. Met the barber, the guy, and we are friends up until today, and then keep bumping into Joe Flizzo a few times. So,
which is surprisingly is a very tall guy. That was a huge surprise, because we never see him much like standing up next to something, and so, wow, okay.
Kan reality of height apa semua kan.
He's like a larger than life guy lah, in a way.
So, I mean, it's interesting to know that he is more than just performer. He love the city more than anything else.
Oh hell yeah!
So because I'm constantly following up to some rappers, and they love to interrelated their birthplace whatsoever.
Yes.
And say, oh, I love North Carolina, like for J. Cole or whatever. So for him, it's Subang Jaya,
And mereka pun ada like West Side.
Betul. So actually, before this, okay, when I mentioned about I've been forever in Subang, sekolah and all that. So around after Form 6, I did some internship with Hanayo. So back in the days where...
Okay, before that, just so I think people here knows who Hanayo is. I think she's the gem of Subang Jaya. And to be more proud, and this is like where I'm coming from. So I was from this school called SMK Subang Utama. At that time, I think Joe and Hanayo was actually from the same school.
Same batch.
In
fact, yeah.
Yeah, and the cool part is I think Hanayo was our first ever ketua pengawas at that time. So having them as our lineage too, I couldn't be more proud. And I hope maybe that we can be the next in line.
Yeah.
But what is it like to work with Hanayo back then?
She's very idealistic, and in terms of work ethics, she's very structured, and I had a lot of good experience knowing how it works, because I always enjoy the process of studying, and like, for example, how things are go from A to Z, so I know how it's like to be a politician, let's say Adun or MP. That's another whole conversation together.
Yeah.
So I understand when she meet her constituents and how compassionate when she meets and deal with the issues that on ground. So it's very eye-opener lah, basically. And when I start seeing her exchange tweets and whatsoever with Joe Flizzo, I was like, wow, like, it's actually politics is just not a thing. It can be music, it can be arts, and
yes. No, but I guess that dia macam mana lah. Okay, weird thing is macam usually people are proud of where they come from in terms of the state.
True.
Macam I budak Johor ke, I budak Terengganu ke, but in a weird way macam like in Subang, I've been hanging out with a lot of people lately kan, and then every time when there's even a stereotype of macam mana budak Subang is, or at least macam dia kata we have that sort of tribal mentality of where we come from, which I don't think any of us acknowledge that, tapi I guess subconsciously dia dah masuk embedded to our brain macam this is the lifestyle that we live in. And I think one thing I love about the community, macam let's say orang macam Hanayo and Joffrey Zone, one thing we realize the impact that they have is all them we become more diversified juga lah.
True.
Because anyone in Subang can be heroes as long as you're doing something for the community, which I think both of them have done so much to sort of like commercialize us. Macam Hanayo, me growing up, macam me and you, we both growing up, we see how much when we go to different areas, not tak kisahlah luar negeri ke atau even dekat luar district ke atau luar Subang, it seems as if though people are going into a different area. So when we come here, we have that sort of identity that even we don't realize. But when you go travel somewhere, you just somehow can sense. And when you mention about Joe dengan Hana kan, I who better to be the not mascot lah, to be the spokesperson or at least the ones that changes. Like you mentioned dulu when we come out, macam you kata tadi, it's just like semua perit, benda biasa, and then now we became like an economic boom.
Correct.
For the past few years.
Yeah, we literally put our city on the map. Like imagine, let's go back before COVID lah. People even label one of the street in SS15 as the Boba Street. Who would guess? You know, it's the same street you can jumpa like Zifutang on all that, and it's in a way create as a business opportunity and the appreciation of property and all that, and not it's dia jadi lagi hebat lah. I mean last time it was just a sleepy town. It was just like
biasa je
estate kan. Before this time
yes, it was an estate.
Yeah, if you go earlier than that, if we chit chat with our uncle ke aunties ke yang memang orang asal daripada Subang ni,
those people they know what Subang Perit looked like before it was Subang Perit.
Yeah, and they will say like the whole stretch of first entrance of Subang Jaya yang SJMC, diorang akan cakap last place dulu semua tu hutan and all that. That kind of imagination. Kita pun macam
you couldn't imagine
everything
these days
looks
kan.
busy now. So and then with a lot of new properties and all that, it felt like dia macam sekarang Subang Jaya is already the next Bangsa or the next Mont Kiara. Yeah, correct.
Now that you mention property kan, if you look at how resell demi house tu,
correct.
It's
unthinkable.
Super, it's unthinkable.
Yeah.
You really need to sell your livers juga and your kidneys semua tu. And fortunately for us, we still have our homes here kan. So like how much of those impact sampai to the point where macam if you manage to buy a property in Subang kan, I think it's people can assume that you're rich lah.
Yeah.
Sebab dia mahal sekarang kan.
So and if you can look back how strategic, because it's kind of like humble brag when I asked my father, because he used to be in the Air Force and posting rata-rata KL, kadang Penang and all that, Pantai Timur and all that.
Right.
So kadang-kadang I don't know why I asked that, because it was small. I asked, why Subang Jaya? Short question. Like why not PJ? Why not Kelana Jaya? And why not even KL? Because nearer to the capital, last time capital lah, KL base kan. So he say probably he got some brothers yang macam quite wise to say like maybe kita boleh emulate jugalah a new upcoming city tu in 20 years dia akan mature earlier than the figure they say 20 years. It could be 10, it could be 15.
Yeah.
So he is right lah. He invested accurately macam in Subang Jaya, because imagine sekarang you know the unique selling point of 5 minutes to here, 5 minutes to there.
Oh yes.
Imagine kalau jalan clear lah 10 minutes you dah sampai Bangsa with MPE and all that, Federal Highway. So it's interconnected lah, and it's quite, you rasa lagi bangga lah you duduk sini. Accessibility is number one lah.
Senang sangat.
Senang sangat with the whole LRT and all that.
Not only that lah, macam like macam you kata like we are dead center to the point where we nak pergi dekat, let's say all the way to jalan keluar district ni pergi ke Kelang atau pergi dekat apa KL ke Putrajaya ke. If you tengok ways kan, compare to you duduk dekat, let's say lah macam dekat Kota Damansara kan.
Betul.
We are far more closer
and connected.
Yeah. Dia macam that roots that macam, let's say lah for someone who just come into Malaysia kan, and they use that Klang Valley Road tu, I think when you're a part of that Klang Valley Road, you know that is the most like economic boom punya area.
So, you're right. So macam kadang-kadang, you know, sometimes I got friends yang stay all the way because masa I ambil degree dulu. That is my point of time that I think that I might go out of Subang finally. But actually my uni is in Shah Alam je, so dekat. So I just commute lah.
Dekat sangat.
So still tak keluar. So and then most of them stay all the way Gombak, Ampang, crazy, you know. But they commute. And then
And traffic from there pun is crazy.
So dia jadi macam culture. Okay, after kita habis kelas, kita lepak Subang. After habis kelas, kita lepak Subang. And then I ended up like rasa, shit, it's my home. And why you all must stuck here? And the whole congestion is crazy lah.
Yes.
Up until now, it's a midpoint to anywhere. Let's say someone from Shah Alam Kelang nak balik rumah Ampang, singgah
Dari
lah.
sini kak?
Makan dinner or semayang isyak, maghrib, whatever, and then baru balik. Continue the journey.
Even kita orang pun, like when we go to like, let's say kita celebrate raya dekat Ampang ke apa-apa kan.
Correct.
Or somewhere dekat Kelang, and then every time kita balik, our parents, my grandma and my mom usually akan kata, singgah Subang jap nak solat. It's always the
it's a name lah. And then and I'm not too sure if you all heard before, like it's a city that people take as an example lah, because they study macam how the development in Sunway, development in patches of USJ for other cities yang outside of Klang Valley lah, so they can plan better basically.
But that's the thing tau, macam like kalau nak kata kita bandaraya tak juga. And then nak kata kita like major cities like KL, not really. Kalau I mean, if you nak compare us dengan Mongkiara, there's still that difference that you can see tau, because we are surrounded mostly by housing areas. But for some reason kan, it's just I don't know. I don't know whether it's just who we are as people ke apa ke, but dia macam dah naik sendiri lah kan.
Betul.
And I'm not gonna lie, dulu when I was a kid sama macam you juga. I was striving to just get out from this area. Masuk uni pun dekat Taylor's. So macam tak ada beza. And everyone macam like, jom pergi kat area ni. And the weird thing is when you have friends daripada some of them luar negara, luar negeri, and then they try to introduce you to so-called new stuff lah kan.
New stuff.
Winded up datang kat sini juga. And then dia macam like, have you been to this place? Yes. When I was 10. So
yeah. And itulah Subang Jaya is susah, because I've even heard kawan macam bila dah habis form 5, that's where you separated lah in a way, like dia ni pergi situ, pergi sini, study overseas ke atau study at other states kan. And then bila dia buka cerita, parents dia nak retired. Lepas tu tanya, retired kat mana? Somewhere in Nilai ke apa. It's a new township. Nilai, Bandar Sri Sendayan and all that.
It's very quiet too.
It's quiet, very private, but it will be another Subang Jaya, let's say in 10-15 years.
It looks like it right now. It will.
So, I mean, insyaAllah lah. But the guy will come back and say, nothing was the same. Kan?
I think that was a song from Joe Flizzo dengan Zendaya. I forgot what's the name. I think nama lagu tu Budak Subang. I think, I might be wrong. I'm sorry if you guys are hearing this. I apologize. But one of the lyrics was, ke dunia kemanapun, until then, I'm still Budak Subang Jaya. So, it's the same as it goes up. Macam kita orang pun, for me and my family, we moved to Subang Bestari. I think was about, now it's 2022. We moved 7 years ago, 2015. 2011. So nearly about 11 years ago lah. When we moved there, I remember macam like the vibe was different, because I remember as a kid, you tak nak bosan tau. So you go around places cari orang. Kasi kat sini, kalau you nak cari new friends, you pergi kat Court 2 dekat 18 kau main bola lah. Atau dekat Padang Asam dekat SS14. But when you're dekat sana tu, there's only one football field that I saw. And I go to them. And for us, kita panggil orang bro. When we don't know each other, it's normal. But when I went there, I remember I kata bro, and dia orang macam like, it's relatively new. And the culture shock for me was huge juga lah. Sebab macam you don't know how to
interact and all that.
Dia macam different. But despite that lah kan, you start to see these days, this modern generation ni kan, I realise that a lot of people are macam mana dia punya behaviour sama macam kita dah. Dia macam, but then we had it first.
I see.
I guess macam you kata lah, Too Fat semua tu kan, I think they had a massive influence jugalah on how we act semua tu kan.
True.
Shout out to Malik.
So back to the whole story of Joe Flizzo again. I pun kadang-kadang, kita we are small, we're just a normal guy on the streets kan. So I saw him collaborating with macam-macam artis lah yang jenis trying to be there for the youth and all that kan. So I'm actually involved with this NGO lah, orang kata no politics, no religion. It's just everything for the best for education lah.
Right.
It's education based. So I saw him tweeting about something that he want to be there for the youth. So I pun macam, because I was doing PR for this NGO, so I was like sliding on the DM lah, kata orang kan.
Malik.
Tak, Joe.
Joe, okay.
So kira macam try lah orang kata, because kita pun kadang insecure tengok followers dia 1.5 million ke 2 million, kita tak tahu kan. It's like we are just needle in the haystack lah. It could be the manager yang reply ke, God knows kan.
Or dia punya own
team ke.
Team
So I just DM lah, say, hey bro, then again, say like, I got some thing to tell you lah, if you are up for it kan. So dia kata, dia reply suddenly on the same day. Selalunya reply seminggu ke apa ke, reply on the same day.
If you're lucky, they'll reply lah.
Reply and then kata, let me know. And then dia kata, I'm up for anything for our homies lah. Kira macam dia nak tolong lah, because that's where lah, as a famous people ke apa ke, you
play your role
you use your role at the right spot, and you can empower people lah. So it's quite humbling to know that people like him are still, he is like jet setting all over the world apa semua, but he's still teringat lah dia punya kampung dia kan. So it's very humbling to know that. And then I'm still working with some other friends to get him on board to, because sponsorship and everything is in tandem lah.
Yeah, of course.
And then probably the kids that mostly ada macam-macam jenis lah, we are trying to help budak sekolah kan. Maybe they need guidance and support. Kadang-kadang you see, kadang I rasa cheesy tau, zaman kita sekolah dulu, nak bagi support kat budak, counselling. It's not one size fits all lah, to me.
Usually counselling tu is just for us lah. I don't know about some people, but counselling is another way of going ponting, because sometimes it doesn't do much. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Detention room.
Detention room.
It's like, okay, zaman kita orang maybe in the period of, maybe if you are in sekolah menengah 2005 2010 kan, that period maybe it works. It's hit and miss lah. Tapi in my opinion, no. Like maybe my other brothers and all that, you need to have a more holistic approach lah.
How different do you think that macam the generational gap between the ones that you just mentioned? How is it different from now?
Simple. Social media has changed everything, because zaman kita, how we entertain ourselves, like we go out, we meet friends.
Bola lah, mostly kan.
I mean, I if I recall back since the whole conversation about Subang kan, macam ada teams tau for my neighborhood kan, the whole stretch. Okay, minggu ni kita main Tamiya, the Cater Control, whatever. And then after that, main macam BB gun ke apa ke, macam perang-perang kan. And then after that, it evolve every week. Kita main something else. And then slowly after that, kita orang main bicycle lah. That's where I dengan sama my gang kan, kita orang 6-8 orang cycle satu line. Ni bukan budak lajak So we all memang proper lah, ada security vest, lampu, I make sure semua ada kan. So I akan jaga yang paling depan tu siapa, tengah siapa, because I love cycling since then, since I sekolah rendah lagi. So kita orang cycle keliling USJ. Dari situ kita explore Taipan tu kat mana, SS14 kat mana.
Lagi ada time tak ada kereta lagi
tak
kan.
ada kereta, ada tu lebih kurang. And then it felt like, wah, Subang besar and it's, I really enjoyed those days, and that's how we go out. Sekarang everything is digital, everything is social media, internet dah makin laju. Dulu dial up, okay,
Dulu waktu kalau streamix kan, you buka
all the creepy sound. So macam I rasa nak attend to social issues kan, dia kena ada better approach lah. So I'm not saying that we need to approach like people like Joe Flizzo ke Yuna, for
but
example.
But there's different methods
yeah.
for you to deal with this current generation kan.
So kita orang ni alhamdulillah, I still in touch with some of them lah, yang kawan-kawan daripada sekolah dulu. Ada yang jadi cikgu, so diorang panggil balik, bro, jom kita buat macam, dia bukan camp lah cik, dia nak ajak kita suruh hypekan budak dia semua. Dia cakap, kita orang macam makan-makan, lepak-lepak, you borak-borak. Actually I cakap, you tu je work, no detention. So based on my experience a couple of years ago, buat ni, ada sekolah around here, ada sekolah kat Bandar Sunway and all that. I'm not saying that certain of these schools are problematic. It's just if you look at the demographic and they need help.
Gonna deny that. I
Yeah.
think coming up from here pun, I would understand what
Yeah.
you're trying to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kadang tu they are bright.
Mm-mm.
They are bright.
Something else
Yeah.
is off kan.
Yeah, they need attention. And then bila chit chat tu kan, usually how we segregate kan, there's something like macam 20 orang, not more than 30 lah. Kita groupkan orang. So seorang macam ambil 2-3 orang. Kita borak-borak. And then sometimes it's show and tell jugalah. You know, some of them, oh abang ni accountant, abang ni engineer, oh abang ni ada business sendiri. So it's like diverse. Dia tak boleh kita bawa 2-3 cikgu bergarutan.
No.
It doesn't work that way.
I mean, in the olden times, macam you kata lah, olden times probably might work, but nowadays, macam mana for me pun, I always macam, I had this sort of vision in my head kan.
Yeah.
Macam like having this, okay, like you kata lah, not necessarily those public figures yang besar macam Hana atau apa Mr. Flizzo kan. But I'm just saying that macam, let's say they recruit back pelajar dulu diorang, yang macam, let's say for example, dulu we have this misconception that budak arts macam will be failures and budak science akan be the successful ones, which is well, it's falsy now lah kan. But then macam, but what it does back then is sort of, I don't know about this generation lah, but in our generation dia buat kita rasa macam like the hope and the spirit was like gone for us. So why bother? So I think what's best is they get people from the same stream. I don't know whether they still have it.
They still do.
They still do.
Apparently.
I mean, like if they assign based on what the student wants, I think that's more proper lah. But based on grades, semua tu is kind of weird. But I just think that they need to find someone yang macam who within the same background at least have that sort of relation to the student to sort of tell them that I pun macam you juga dulu, but it changed for the better for me. So about for me, I'm a art student dulu.
Same here. Same. I mean, I remembered Form 1 by Form 3, specific group. It's quite like macam, it's a farm, you know, how they put the education system lah. Okay, Form 1, Form 3, you ni kawan ni yang paling rapat lah, best friend forever lah. Habis Form 3, PMR, result semua pun lebih kurang whatever semua. Form 4. Oh dia ni science 1, dia ni science 2, oh dia ni arts 1. Oh okay, kita yang science tak boleh kawan dengan arts, something like that. It's quite like a herd mentality.
Dia subconscious tau. Dia bukan like like tiba-tiba dia straight up say that to our face.
Tak.
No,
They are just like, oh dia dengan gang dia. So but I was more of like merelakan je lah keadaan tu, that phase of life lah. I was not that affected ke apa ke, because I still make friends with everyone. Literally yang mana yang gangster ke apa ke, yang balik sekolah there'll be something happen, that kind of thing, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, always I akan.
Yeah.
I think that's never in my life where I tak pernah not. I've seen it all gak lah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm from SJ lah, so there's always a show after school. So you'll just wait at one corner is a vantage point. You can see if that one gang will go with that one gang.
Belum pergi 17 lagi.
I did my Form 6 at 17.
Oh, okay.
So kereta polis tu is normal lah.
Yeah. But now it's a bit lessened juga lah.
It's better lah.
I don't know what was going on that time, tapi it's just like you said lah, maybe adalah benda tu kan.
Any schools to me lah, I rasa macam be it sekolah asrama ke sekolah harian ke, all that, I mean every school they have their own grade and flaws lah.
No, but the weird thing is, I remember like about a year ago, I was there was this kid, I'm not gonna mention the name lah, but he was like boleh kata nampak macam budak gangster lah back in the day tau. And I remember I met him somewhere, and then he works for like this thing lah kan. And when I met him, the most gentleman person I've ever met tau. And they look at me, dia macam, "Hey bro, duduk kat sekolah kan?" And I was like, it's weird because you're shaking hands with someone that you really scared of when you were a kid tau. And then when they grew up, you rasa macam like, oh you're not too bad. Dia macam like, it's amazing punya turn around lah, you know.
Sama. I always, I mean, just now when I mentioned that I make friends with everyone. So yang mana yang science ke arts ke kelas hujung they call it. So somehow bila jumpa sekarang, because if you calculate, I mean I did my Form 5 2009. So bila dah jumpa like 10 over years after that, bila jumpa kan, I mean bukanlah kita judge personality, oh dia kena pakai suit dia berjaya, but you met them through public transport, let's say LRT ke, and then you know, bukanlah kita nak tengok dia pakai lanyard apa ke, company apa ke, but the fact that you remembered zaman you kelas agama dulu dengan dia, ustazah was doing the God's job lah, saying that kau ni aku tak tahu apa nak jadi, you know, or I think you wouldn't go on with life or whatever. You would be in sekolah hari geni or something like that
Yeah,
lah.
I heard that a lot.
It's insane, you know. But tiba-tiba dia jadi, orang kata jadi orang lah. And you were humble to know that you've meet that person again and then keep in touch, exchange numbers and all
but
that.
you became closer afterwards
Yes.
tau. It's so weird how the world works kadang.
Yeah.
Macam like dulu I remember like this is the most common thing that people say to me. Dia kata, wah, apa kau lain Okay, I was more of a like a budak pelik lah dulu when I was a kid and tak ada gangster apa kan. But when they met
You're
me
the
macam,
observer lah.
No, I was the odd kid in school lah. I think if anyone's watching this, my school they will vouch for me when they say, Mirzani, I have this weird thing that I do in school lah. And so when we met and then diorang kata macam, wah, you dah berubah lah. Memang lah, after 7 years takkan I never change my ways.
Kalau sama juga.
Itu bukan progression kan. Like, I want my evolution. Aku nak jadi Charizard juga, tak nak jadi Charmander the rest of my life kan. So, but it's nice to see macam like apa, but adalah some people yang macam, aku benci dia kat sekolah, tak cakap ada. But you know like, I guess when I look back in my life kat sekolah, back then I would probably think macam like, oh my god, my life is so bad semua tu. But then when I look back macam lawak kak. It's like, there was a joy. But I think what's beauty about, like, let's say I were from here kan, I think this is the only few places yang we are very well diverse when it comes to in terms of races macam Chinese, Malay, Indian.
It's well mixed, yeah.
Well mixed. Sampai kat sekolah tu kan, like you have like even humor from everyone. And I think here pun macam like I don't know, macam like you don't feel segregated if you ask me. And so I guess that's what makes my childhood lagi more fun and open kat lah kan. And itulah, it's a weird thing to talk about lah, because for me macam, man, I haven't talked about my school days for some
True.
time.
I mean macam in fact macam bila you know you go to mamak nearby kat SS12, SS14, 15, it'll be a more shocking moment to bump into your teachers.
Oh yeah.
Takkan you tak nak tegur.
Memanglah.
I think it'll be exceptionally rude to just like brush off. But memang muka dia tu you boleh tengok, oh ni cikgu aku dulu, aku nak tegur. Tapi bila tegur tu, yang kesian tu sometimes dia orang tak ingat.
Yelah.
Tapi you akan cuba ingat because you want to say lah, cikgu ingat tak saya dulu macam ni macam ni, and then they're like, oh awak dah lain, something like that. So it's quite a humble moment to still know that your school teacher still reside in Subang and maybe retire. They look like they've retired and doing their own thing apa ke. And then somehow tiba-tiba dia buka cerita pasal, I've met your other friend. Dia baru balik daripada sekian-sekian ke. It's like, wow, I mean, it's a perfect township lah. Yeah.
Not only that lah, I think what I've been not you mentioned, but terserempak dengan cikgu. Several months ago, I did nampak a cikgu from my secondary school. It blew my mind how fast time flies, because kalau kira balik sekarang ni, I'm a year away from saying I dah a decade daripada pergi sekolah menengah dulu.
True.
And when I see them, macam you see them aging semua tu kan.
True,
and it just blew you away, macam like, man, I was tak nak kata byproduct of them but macam, you know, like they were the ones who taught me when I was still at that phase where I'm just learning to grow up semua tu kan.
True.
It's so it's exciting because you want to let them know yang macam, look, I've become something of a useful person. But at the same time tu pun, it's sad to know macam like how fast time flies tau. Very sad. And macam you kata lah, same outcome. Dia macam like, you yang mana satu because dia pun ajar banyak student kan. So like, can't really blame them for that.
Yang kadang lagi sedih, you know, it's inevitable lah to know that some of them ada yang cancer and then dah recovered pun ada, yang dah meninggal pun ada. So I've known a few yang, because some cikgu kita orang rapat dengan husband orang juga, because mostly the cikgu ladies lah kan. Kita orang pergi rumah orang tuition apa semua. And then kadang bila tarawih lah usually kan, before COVID, I've met certain teacher punya husband tu, puan sekian-sekian dah tak ada. And then you're like just like lost of words lah. Because to know that macam you cakap lah, time flies very fast. And to know that someone that taught you, let's say English ke BM ke maths ke, you know, people think that cikgu je, but actually they are the one that shaped the nation.
Yes, I agree. Shout out to all the cikgu-cikgu out there. We love you, even though kita nakal waktu zaman sekolah tu. Well, that's just us being kids lah kan. No, but then macam like sometimes when I look back and it's weird when we get older, we don't realize that time went on tau. Sampai in a blink of an eye, then like yesterday I just celebrated my 26th birthday, and it's still shocking to me to know that wow, I'm in my late 20s now. Like just yesterday I ingat lagi when I just masuk for my orientation kat sekolah menengah. And I remember like who I first met, who was this, and then the same guy I met yang dorky dulu sekarang ada tattoo dengan shoulder dia macam lain, no, kau tukar. But yeah, how was it like? Was your time waktu kat SMSJ kan that time kan?
Well, the school changed exactly masa I dah keluar because in terms of the whole layout and they built new blocks here and there. So bila kita when I mentioned about you yang I cycle tu kan, so kadang kita bila rindu tu we revisit the school lah. Lalu and then bila lalu, the block where kita panjat dulu tak boleh panjat dah because there's already a new block and then they already renovate here and there. It looks different but the main facade is still there lah.
The vibe tu ada lagi
the vibe
lah.
still there and then you still recall like last time kita pernah camp kat sini dulu. And I mean dulu masa kita orang kecil people keep saying lah, oh enjoy your school days
while
you last, and then because lepas tu you kerja and then things will move even faster.
Yeah.
I really relate to that. Kan?
I baru felt it. So when I felt tu dah kerja tu macam my god. I mean at that time tu maybe kita orang macam salah pun macam tak dapat good grades atau like at that time lah cinta monyet semua tu kan. But compared to this problem time macam like if I could trade it off while still getting paid tu
yeah.
I'll be held back to that time.
You keep saying that if only you would do better kan. Tapi actually I mean that's a debate lah. Orang kata would you turn back time or you cherish what you had and so I mean think about it lah. You had a good memories what.
Yeah, great memories actually. Great, yeah.
Friends ke whatever ke semua tu kan. So I don't know how even to go towards that how the current generation relates to lah. Maybe they see it differently kan.
No, it's saddening macam like you kadang pun okay, I don't cycle, I drive around SS18 and I remember dekat there's this court number I think I remember Mamak Bistro SS14 kan depan dia there's this futsal court and we call them court 2 or okay I might be wrong tapi macam like if I could remember I call
it's
it
a big padang kan
yang ada futsal besar tu. So I remember when I was 16, 17, you always will rush up to go there. You pakai bicycle because if you datang lambat, memang penuh. You won't get the ball. You can play, but the ball won't reach to you. It will reach to some budak sekolah senior kita, and then there's senior kita macam dah bekerja semua tu.
Dia datang situ.
They're still there. And then macam diorang pun sama lah. They reminisce, dulu waktu sekolah aku lain. Tu senior, betul-betul senior. And then there's also budak Tafiz that was like nearby my school area jugalah. Dia datang. So the place was so packed. So you always datang pukul 4:30 after Zuhur, asal you terus pergi. And lately macam I pass by sebab dulu there was a Bazar Ramadan dekat SS18.
Yeah, the whole stretch
before the LRT built kan.
True.
Now dia macam dah tutup. So I was like okay lah, I want to run down because I remember when I was there even waktu Ramadan back in the day and there was still a huge number of people still playing futsal. And even on a normal day basis pun when I pass by and I look at it, I macam it's so empty that I park my car, then I went inside to the court too. It still looks the same. The smell is the same. You know, the breeze rasa sama. Cuma bezanya ialah tak ramai orang tau. No, tak ramai, memang tak ada orang langsung.
Yeah.
Just sat there and then it makes me feel like macam like if someone like because dulu like anyone who's like our age nak masuk je lah. Tak kisah. But then these days I tengok semua macam like time changes so fast and if I could influence the kids these days to macam like jom lah kita main bola semua tu, but I highly doubt that would be successful lah on my end kan.
True.
But itulah, but for you, for facing with this new generation kan, do you think that the rise of social media makes them macam preferably masuk more towards indoors ke atau or is it like a just memang culture dia orang ke macam mana?
It's hard to say because ada juga yang it's they call it user generated content and people are kadang-kadang to that level of they curate their life, you know. Oh okay, hari ni aku kena post benda-benda macam ni. So okay, hari ni let's say you know this whole generation where macam I cycle outdoor kan. Oh yang ni yang geng yang indoor cycling, or yang ni indoor yang yoga whatever. I mean exercise still there. Futsal is still there lah, tapi futsal kena pergi 13 lah kot. So the whole padang yang kita still main tu, I don't know, memang kena spark balik untuk semua orang datang balik ke apa ke.
Itu kena buat school reunion baru best.
Baru datang balik kan. Yeah.
Letak banter sana. Come. Banter lah, banner.
Dekat sekolah kita orang lagi dekat yang pada Asam tu lah.
Dia smaller in size lah, but still ramai orang kat dulu.
Kat situ jugalah, I mean, dia tak ada futsal ada hujung tu, tapi ada basketball court tu. Itu yang one thing best tu. Player dia kadang-kadang random je, siapa yang lalu-lalu main sekali.
Masuk.
It's just that's one thing nice lah to me. I rasa macam dia tak ada lagi rasa macam you defensing dengan itu apa. You just any random stranger pun boleh main kan.
Even dekat bola pun kau kaki bangku pun masuk
main
je.
Time tu lah you boleh nampak 6 lawan 6 kan. Punya penuh court tu.
Tapi peliknya dia letak semua kaki bangku satu team.
True.
Shoot. No, but I remember one pass by lah dekat Padang Asam kan. And I remember like orang main futsal memang tak ramai as dulu. But the same makcik I saw jogging years sampai sekarang is still there. And I macam like, wow, semangat gila tau. Cuma maybe rambut dia beruban sikit lah compared to dulu kan. Okay, now we're gonna go back to macam your topic waktu the time when you work with Hanayo kan. So how is it like to work under her sebenarnya? Macam her as a person lah.
As a person, I mean, all of us recall the fact that, I mean, from your school, ketua pengawas, people even nickname her ketua pengawas all the time.
Ya ke?
Very structured and personally, when I know, she usually got like almost few hundreds of emails a day. I can't imagine that. So she will channel it to other staffs lah. So for me, mostly municipality issues lah. Macam let's say the drainage issues ke sampah. It's very, people think it's mundane kan, tapi for
it's
her,
exhausting for her to come up with a plan.
For her, she's like, okay, attend to this. Okay, this is all the orang. Time tu it was MPSJ. Okay, this is the guy who handle this area. Make sure penduduk jangan marah apa semua. Kita kena attend. So that is the time where I know that as a, let's say YB Adon lah, it's just not only to come to official events, go to schools,
have to handle these things juga lah.
Kenduri semua. But they are more than that. They go to Don and pass laws and all that. So it's interesting lah to know the process and kira buatkan kita faham yang it's not easy. Tapi as a person yang you tanya tadi tu, she's very committed lah. And I boleh ingat lagi resident bila kita solve a case kan. Dia memang akan hantar thank you emails and all that. I mean, most of them are senior citizen. So they are very like, kita nak benda ni done. So for YB herself, she's very like, okay, kita kena pasti serve them the best.
Tapi still lah tu kan, I always feel like macam like meeting her and for so long, and I rasa macam like it's something that I would love to become macam tau, because like what you said lah, macam dia very persistent tu, and I agree, nak jaga 1 tahun tu,
It's huge.
And imagine the schedule that she's going through the whole time kan.
Time tu lah yang she always tanya, okay, dalam SS18 berapa banyak padang, SS14 berapa banyak padang. Time tu yang I kena belajar, okay, kawasan
You thought you knew it kan.
So yeah.
Wait, by the way, before that, I just want to ask you this question. So you're from, correct me if I'm wrong, but your family's from Penang juga kan? I want to ask you this because in my personal point of view, like I think Subang has the best nasi kandar. Utara.
Susah nak cakap because as our taste bud lah. You know, nasi kandar utara to me lah, hands down, is bila COVID masa time tu, you tak boleh cross border and all that, and I even post on IG and I call it the closest to Penang. You know, and I got few friends yang memang foodie kan. There's another place ni dekat S17.
Kat mana pula?
Ni secret spot lah.
You have to share to the world lah
kan. So nama dia Hoods, deret-deret dengan the petrol station tu. Ada rumah kedai tu.
Okay.
So dia kadang-kadang buka, kadang tutup, so you kena pergi tengok lah. Usually lunchtime 11 dia dah buka dah. So it goes until sometime 2-3 dia dah habis sold out. and lauk-lauk dia memang original Penang punya. Even the owner pun bila kita korek-korek cerita, it's memang memang my parents semua kenal lah relative kat belah-belah Penang.
I
It's
see.
as authentic as
lah.
possible. Yeah.
But that's the sad part tau. Dekat there's one more place dekat, I think kat USJ 9 or something lah. There's this pakcik ni jual nasi lemak kat sebelah, but only on certain days. And then that's the sad part lah. Yang selalu yang sedap gila, they have that time limit where tu dia tak ada tau. And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. This is the best part about post-COVID lah. Because food business to me lah, it's the best.
Yes.
I even hear quotes where you jual kuih pun boleh jalan, you jual nasi pun boleh jalan. And then now with this whole conversation of nasi biryani lamb shank and all that, if you know what I mean, it's like semua orang suka buat business, and I feel like I pray for the best for everyone out there.
I think that's a Malaysian part in us yang macam makanan is like identity kita tau, which we had a topic about just now, but like an episode before. So this is gonna be interesting juga. But still you're right. I think about the COVID tu kan, I think it was the hard time. That was the first time ever when I walked past through the streets and rasa macam everything is so empty. And it looks depressing lah, but you know, and also like some people pun macam they lost some family members, which are all grievances to them. And well, at least now everything is back to normal. Well, at least as how normal we want to be lah.
Correct.
So far, how are you doing right now?
Alhamdulillah, great. And then working as usual, and I'm looking at having some other side hustle, you know lah. We are all hustler here kan.
All of us are.
Yeah.
These days,
not only because of money, but just chasing the passion lah. Basically.
Yes, I agree. Like I think this is my side hustle juga lah, if you think about it. Man, but dude, it's such amazing thing to like. Thank you so much for coming today.
Thanks for having me.
It's such an interesting to my homeboy right here, Thaqeef, and also this is Mirdza Faiz from Zah TV signing off.